Hi everyone, my name is Beth. If you watched my chat last week, you know that this week we're going to talk a little bit more on the actual steps of manifestation. But first, you can see here I have Miss Pearl with me today. She's not feeling well, so she's all bundled up in my scarf. In case you're wondering why I seem to have a cat strapped to my chest. All right, so last week we talked a lot about visualization and how that helps you in manifesting. And, we talked about how manifesting is really calling in, getting really clear on what you want, and then using all of your senses and your energy to really draw it in towards you. And this can be with a variety of different things. Like literally, you can manifest anything. So for example, or some of the examples I gave you last week were some of the ones that I've used in my life. I manifested that I would end up buying the perfect horse, and I did. And I manifested that I would ride and train in Europe, and I did. And then I manifested my perfect home that I'm in right now and all kinds of different things. And at the time, I might not have noticed that I was sort of unconsciously manifesting. But I'm going to talk to you more about consciously manifesting and how to keep your sights on what you want and to keep your focus. So the first step of any manifestation, I'm going to talk to you about that. But first, one of my favorite things to do when I'm sitting down sometimes I call them little manifestation meditations. But you don't need to be familiar with meditating at all. You don't need to have any background in that. This is just part of my process. I like to light a candle to get started, just sort of get me nice and calm and focus my head. So I light my candle. That's just a personal preference. You don't have to. I just find it cozy. And then I sit down and I think to myself, what is it that I want? And I get super, super clear on that. So the clearer and more detailed, the better. And I'm going to sit calmly, with my feet on the floor, and I'm going to think to myself, what is it that I want? So, like I said, you can use this for all kinds of things. I like to use it personally for experiences because, I just find experiences more meaningful than things. But that's just myself. So get really clear on what you want first. So this could be which university you want to go to, what kind of car you want to drive when you turn 16. Literally anything. Like you want a puppy, you want the new book that's coming out next week. So you're going to get really, really clear on that. And then you're going to ask for it. And I'm not saying that you're going to go to your parents or your grandparents or your neighbors, be like, hey, I want this thing. Can you help me get this thing? You're just going to put it out into the universe. And if you believe in God or any other religious entity, you can ask them, but you're just going to generally put it out as an energy that you are asking for this specific thing in your life. And like I said, specific, you're going to keep it super concise and clear on what it is that you want. And you're going to do this every day. You're not going to think about, so in my example, I wasn't going to think about the fact that I thought it would be cool to have my own horse and ride and compete in Europe once. Trust me, I did not think about that once. I thought about that every single day from probably the time that I was 13 to 17 when I left. And that's not to say that something that you're manifesting is going to take 4 years. It can take 4 hours, 4 days, 4 months, 4 years. It really just varies. But I always like to say the universe brings it to you when you're ready for it. So sometimes just because you're not receiving what you asked for right away doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. It's just simply a matter of aligning everything at the right time. Oh, are you coming out? Okay. So you're going to do that every day. I like to personally set aside some time in the morning or in the evening when I can have, a bit of quiet time by myself with some candles and the kitten and just really think calmly and positively. You want to be in a really positive mindset. So personally, I wouldn't recommend practicing your manifesting after a fight with your brother or with your mom or whatever. You're going to want to be in a happy, good space. And then you're going to sit down and you're going to focus really clearly on what you want. And you're going to put that energy out into the universe. Universe, I'm asking you for. So let's say that when COVID is all said and done and everyone can safely travel again, you can say, universe, I really want to go on the grade 12 trip to France or wherever it is, or universe, I really want to go to Disney World this summer. And you're going to imagine Disney World. You're going to imagine where you would stay and the kinds of things you would eat, the rides you might go on. And, are you going with your family? Are you going with friends? You're going to really get super detailed in how you're imagining it. And you're going to think about it every day. And I'm not saying that you should slack off all afternoon and be like, I'm manifesting. Will you daydream about what it is that you want? But just take 5 or 10 minutes a day to really clearly think about it. And I find that when I do this consistently, so when I do it every single day without fail, I find it gets clearer every single time I do it. So for example, if you're talking about Disneyland, the first day you might be like, oh, universe, I really want to go to Disneyland next summer with my cousin. And you'll leave it at that. And that's your manifestation. And then a couple weeks go by and you keep thinking about this and keep thinking about this. And then you start to think to yourself, universe, I really want to go to Disneyland with my cousin and stay in this specific hotel because they have a great pool. And that's going to vary, right? So just because you're only manifesting for a couple minutes a day doesn't mean that you can't also give yourself some ideas. So go online, Google things about what it is that you want. Google places to visit down around Disneyland or anything like that, and try to get as much detail about where you want to go or where you are potentially going in the future so that you have as much detail and clarity to draw on when you're sitting and thinking about it in your manifestation process. And then this one's one of the hard parts. You're going to trust the process. And I know that can be really hard when you're sitting at home thinking every day to yourself, oh my gosh, I want to go to Disneyland. Oh my gosh, I want to go to Disneyland. And no one's calling you and offering to take you to Disneyland. That can be really hard. And it can be hard to keep the belief and the excitement. And that's normal. But I'm going to ask that you take the time to acknowledge those feelings, but really just trust that this is something you want and you've asked the universe for it and it's going to deliver. It might not deliver exactly when you want it or exactly how you thought it would look like, but it will deliver to you. So trust the process. And when you start getting things that you're manifesting, be grateful, express that gratitude, write it down, journal it out, say out loud, I am so grateful for, say your grandparents gave you some money for Christmas. I'm so grateful for this money I got for Christmas that gets me closer to going to Disney World next year. So receive and acknowledge what the universe is giving you, even though it might not be exactly what you've asked for yet. It comes in pieces. It comes totally different. Everyone's journey is different. And like I said, just because you sit down and say, I want to go to Disneyland, does not mean that tomorrow somebody's going to, come to your door and be like, here's 4 tickets for you and your family. Enjoy. That's not really how it works. But you do need to keep that trust in the process. You're going to want to keep your vibration high. And what does this mean? So when I talk about energy vibrations, for example, when you've had a really good day and you've been outside in the sun and you've had a wonderful day and you're just really happy and content and the energy in your body feels good. That's what I mean when I say you want to keep your energy high. And take that on the opposite end. If you were to say have a big fight with your best friend and you feel kind of icky inside and sad and maybe a little bit slow, like you're just not very excited about things because that's really weighing on you, then you're in a negative energy. So whenever you're sitting down to manifest, you want to do something first that gets you excited. So you don't want to sit down and be like, oh, universe, I want to go to Disneyland. Like, can you just take me to Disneyland already? You want to maybe do a couple jumping jacks or have a cup of tea, do something else that makes you smile, watch a funny YouTube video, and then sit down and say, hey, universe, I am so looking forward to this chance to go to Disneyland. I just know that it's going to be the most amazing trip, and my cousin and I are going to have so much fun. And I trust in you to bring this opportunity to me when it's the right time. And I know that sounds a little bit quirky and a little bit crazy, but it has worked for me many, many times. So clean up any resistance you have to this. Because like I said, I know it can sound a little bit kooky to say I'm asking the universe to take me to Disneyland. And this is something I really struggled with when I first started manifesting, was I thought, like, this all just sounds kind of crazy. Like, no one's listening to me say that I want these things. Like, I'm just being a little bit crazy. So I really had to clean up that resistance to the fact that, I could get what I was asking for. So let go of any doubt or judgments of yourself in your manifestations. Just be really gentle with yourself and be gentle with the timeline, because like I said, it doesn't always happen on your timeline. But let go of any negative thoughts that you have. For example, like if you're doing Disneyland and you want to go with your cousin, and you're thinking about it and you're feeling really good and you're manifesting, and you have a little thought that comes in and goes, yeah, but my aunt's never going to let them go. You can just say, you know what, brain, I'm going to let that thought go. That's resistance and I don't need it. So you can just choose to not listen to that thought. And this works for all positive and negative thoughts in our life. It's important to notice when your brain is purposely sort of getting negative on you, and to acknowledge that you can hear that without taking it in, if that makes sense. So yes, it's happening in your head and in your brain, but you don't need to necessarily believe it. So just because your brain is like, oh, your cousin's never going to be allowed to come to Disneyland, your auntie never lets her travel, blah, 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 you can be like, those are just negative thoughts. I'm going to choose to not allow them into my manifestation time. And you're just going to keep focusing in a really positive, upbeat way on how much you're looking forward to experiencing Disneyland with your cousin, and how, what kind of snacks you're going to share with your cousin, and which rides you're going to go on with your cousin, and really focus on the positivity and the excitement of it. And last week when we talked about visualization, I sort of said that it's like a sensory thing. So when I manifest, I don't just use my visualization. I also imagine, what is it going to smell like when I get there? What does Disneyland smell like? I have no idea because I've never been, but I would imagine that it smells something like K-Days or Stampede, right? You kind of smell that cotton candy in the air, and it's hot and it's warm and people are crowded about. So there's lots of different sounds. And so I think to myself, if I'm walking into Disneyland and I'm so happy to be there, how does my body feel? What sounds am I hearing? What smells am I smelling? What am I seeing around me? And I really get really sensory into all those things, so that it really is such a visceral and real experience in my body, that later when you actually do go to Disneyland, you'll be surprised at how many of those things come true so clearly. Like those smells and those sounds, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is exactly how I imagined it. And it's really magical. So I know this sounds a little bit kooky, and I really am grateful for the chance to share it with you, because it's been a huge part of my life. I manifest on a regular basis. And that's not to say like that I don't work towards my goals. If I have a really big goal, for example, when I bought my house, I really wanted to do that. I was planning for it. I didn't just say, oh, universe, I want to buy a house and then, not work or save my money, right? Like there are steps involved as well, real life steps. But manifesting is a way that you can really concentrate your energy and your excitement into bringing something physically to form for you. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please leave them now. Otherwise, if they're passed along through email afterwards, I can always answer them as well. But I'm just going to go through the steps really one last time before I hop off. So first, get really clear on what it is that you want. Ask the universe for it. Be really clear. The clearer you can get, the better. Right down to the nitty-gritty details. And don't be afraid to ask for it every day. Sit down, take the time for yourself, even if it's in the shower in the morning. Take an extra couple minutes to really think through the imagination or sort of the imaginative arriving at Disneyland or whatever it is that you're choosing to manifest. And you're going to get clearer and more concise every time you do this. You're going to notice little details pop up, and that's where the magic happens. Trust the process. Know that just because the universe doesn't email you 4 tickets to Disneyland doesn't mean that you're not going. Keep up the vision and the manifestation, and it will come to you. Receive and acknowledge when you're receiving. So any small step that you get towards that goal, receive it, be grateful for it, acknowledge it. You can thank the universe if that's your thing. It is my thing. Or you can say to your friends, I am so excited. X just happened, and this means that I'm this much closer to my goal of going to Disneyland. So receive and acknowledge and keep your vibration high. And I know we're not all in a good mood all the time, especially, when things are hectic. So I know that that's not possible. And I'm not saying that you just need to be positive 100% of the time, but I do think that if you're going to sit down and think about your dreams, it's important to do something that puts you in a positive headspace first. Like I said, watch a funny YouTube video, snuggle with your pets, do something that makes your heart happy so that when you're imagining these things, you're imagining them from a place of joy and gratitude and happiness, not from a place of it's never going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, because you don't necessarily need to know how it's going to happen. You just need to hold your vision strong. So I hope that helped. And like I said, if there are any questions, I will follow up via email. But otherwise, I've had so much fun doing these for you guys. And I hope everyone has a great week. Thank you. Bye.